Hey everyone, this one's going to be a really nice one as I'm kind of easing back into the podcast. Still got to, get back into it, get my flow, find all of that. But this one is going to be talking about environmental storytelling. Hey everyone, I hope you're well, playing on and making the games that you all love. You're joining me, your host, Max Pears, and it's an absolute pleasure to be talking to you all once again. I can't believe that, it's been a month since I've last kind of released my episodes. Well, sorry, they'll be in 1 week before, but I'm kind of in the middle of my break while recording this one. And great news, we've upgraded the equipment. So first shout out to all the Patreon supporters, to those who've purchased the Game Dev TV courses that I've linked in the previous month, for those who've bought the book, as well as gone and purchased other things from the Level Design store that is on Gumroad. I'll do a little ad plug about that in a couple of seconds. We'll get that in there so you can find out more, because all of these has helped me, be able to get all of that fund and reinvest it back into the show itself. And hopefully you'll be able to hear this moving forward with the quality of mic. I actually picked up a new mic. I was previously using the Blue Yeti, which to me was good. But one thing I noticed, so when I was doing it through Audacity, it sounded really good. And I really did like how it sounded. However, when I was on someone else's show, for example, whether that be on Zoom, Skype, or even Zencaster, which is one of my favorite ones to use, it just didn't sound great. So I'm hoping now with the new equipment, I'm still learning a bit more, so I'll still be fiddling around with the overall sound a little bit, that we can go through this and make it even better. So I'm kind of excited on that element, and I hope it sounds better. And what I ended up buying was the Shure mic, which is the same one that you'll see other big podcasts use, such as Joe Rogan Experience, Morning Combat, and I'm sure many others that I'm not even aware of myself. Just thank you to all who've helped by supporting me, because again, it's about constantly reinvesting and trying to make this podcast even better. So yes, just thank you so much. I hope it does sound better. Like I said, we'll be tinkering around in the background to make it better, and hopefully we'll be streaming a little bit more as well, because last one you all saw it. If you did, I have 2 cameras to mess around with, this new mic. I've got my little mixer as well to add elements to it. I don't know if this works. Hold on, let me check. Okay, so yeah, that's in case I ever curse now. I'm just going to be like, I'm absolutely with that. So hopefully that doesn't sound too bad, but that's something I've got to play around with in case I ever, I don't tend to cuss too much on the show, but if I ever do now, we can make it, PG, a bit more friendly for everyone. All right then. So yes, it's good to be back. I hope you've missed it as well, and I'm really excited to always come back in. Today's sponsor is none other than me. What I've done, everyone, and I hope you're excited for this, is I've actually created a Level Design kind of store. What I've done in this store is put up different kinds of tips and tricks that you can find there, whether that be my actual ebook itself, to that of Level Design pamphlets focused on different things such as traversal, stealth, breaking into the industry, as well as different talks that I have done which you cannot find anywhere else other than on this store. So if you are looking to improve on your level design skills and processes, then check out the Level Design store, which will be down in the description below, where there'll be a link to find this. All you need to do is head over to gumroad.com/level design lobby. I hope you like what you see, and I look forward to hearing your thoughts. Thank you, and now back to the show. Now, this one is going to be slightly shorter than my normal kind of episodes. The reason is I'm kind of just getting back into the flow of the podcast again. Still tinkering around, like I said, with the sound settings. Still figuring out kind of what I'm trying to change up with my content in order to make it better. Try and make the podcast more enjoyable. So if you do have suggestions, leave it down in the comments, tweet at me, email into the show. Anything that you feel you want me to discuss, anything you feel that maybe we're lacking, just let me know, because we're still getting better. Anyone who's seen the stuff on the YouTube side, side, you'll have seen, better video editing, nicer thumbnails, all of these different banners too. So all of these elements that come into it and make it better. So I thought I'd come in with kind of a slightly more, I don't want to say easier, but kind of more relaxing topic and aspect of level design, because this section by no means is easier. I just think it's something that we don't necessarily talk a great deal about, shall we say. And that is actually the storytelling within the levels that we build. And an aspect to that, and I've mentioned it in the Hub World level episode, which was I think like a month to 2 months ago, talking about environmental storytelling in terms of how we use props, to help sell the story, the position of items, the use of decals, which could be graffiti, blood, all of these elements. It's not just that. We're going to be focusing on a few other things, but things that you should really kind of think about just a little bit more to help sell the world of your level design, to really help push it, okay? So now we're going to go into different kind of elements and go through that. So the first one, let's go on and talk about that of what I just mentioned, environmental storytelling. For those of you who don't know, environmental storytelling is essentially you telling the story with just the environment. I know, pretty easy. It's the it's the name on the can. But what it means is sometimes this won't be just on you. This will also be down to your environment artist on your level too. But it's always good to discuss with them. Maybe your mission/narrative designer has some ideas too. But I'm just saying these elements can be not just the responsibility of, say, you, the level designer, but actually be that of the whole team. So when you are doing this, make sure that you are talking to them. Do get feedback from your teammates because it's really important. But before that, what it should be is kind of setting the scene, going through and showing kind of what has happened here. There's always the example I've given in previous episodes of that when you arrive in a kitchen and there is blood on the floor with some empty shells from bullets. And then you see the door kind of smashed open and some blood just leading around it. Now, what we're thinking here is someone's either been invaded and been shot. Maybe there was an argument and someone, like I said, shot and they escaped and ran out. But what it is it's giving the player enough information to allow them to understand what the story is, but try and give open-mindedness for the player to kind of fill in their gaps in their own way, which is why I think not every story will do this. Sometimes you will need to give more details, but I really try, or what I really enjoy about this element of telling your stories is that you kind of give them a bit more leeway, give it that kind of sense that it's open to interpretation. There isn't just kind of one answer. It's on the player to kind of look at it and figure out, well, hold on, did this play out like this, or was there kind of other elements as well? And that's one thing that I should think you should focus on when it comes to environmental storytelling, is leave it a bit more open-ended. Make sure that you tell enough, but don't sell everything. And it is also hard if you are just using props. If you have things like journal or audio entries, that can obviously help a lot and make sure that they do link in with them. Because if it doesn't, then obviously it ruins the whole illusion. But if you can actually play to your strengths of teaming up together, you can sell the story even better. Because this is also something to keep in mind with journal entries. Not all players will read them. So that's why it's even more important for you to help sell what has happened, do the story. Now, the devil is in the details here. So make sure that you reflect that. And I'm saying this from my experience as well, everyone, is there's some times where I didn't necessarily think about the details. And sometimes you have to think about if, let me just give an example, someone has fallen from a very big height, shall we say, that when they fall, they're probably, and it's kind of a sad and also kind of gory topic to discuss, but in the sense of video games, if a body does hit the floor at a certain height, it can leave some big impact there too. Think about, when people talk about if you spit from the top of the Eiffel Tower or drop a penny, that can actually do damage to someone underneath because of the velocity that you're coming down at. Sometimes if you jump too high into water, the impact is just going to feel like hitting concrete. If you've all jumped in from a certain height and belly flopped onto or into the pool of the ocean, that hurts. There's a reason that your body turns red. It's probably not just because you're in the sun like me, who's English and pasty white, but it's because of the impact itself. So really have a think about, those details. Well, could you have some sort of maybe decals to show that something has broken up? Could you perhaps have something broken off because of, when it impacted, it broke in and the glass shattered, for example. So again, the devil is in the detail here.
At Level Design Lobby, we believe everybody has a story to tell. Hobbyist or student, freelancer or veteran, we made it our mission to unite those who share our passion for creating and developing great games. Thanks to our generous Patreon backers, we've been able to do just that. So if you've already pledged your support, thank you. If not, you too can ensure the future of Level Design Lobby, helping us to create even more exciting content, collaborations, interviews, and much more. With awesome perks and rewards, whether you're a seasoned professional or just getting started, you're sure to find something for you. Want to share tips, tricks, and advice with passionate, like-minded developers? Our awesome community Discord has you covered. Fancy practicing your level design, creating strong portfolio content, and having fun? Then try our level design weekends. Or perhaps you want to individually discuss your work, hone your skills, or level up your career? Then consider our one-on-one mentorships. If you share our vision, then go to patreon.com/Level Design Lobby for more information and to pledge your support. Thank you.
So there are just the two things there. Obviously open to interpretation, or sorry, say three things. Make sure to communicate with your team so everyone's on board with the story. Make sure it matches with that of your other team members in terms of who are involved in the narrative. And also the devil's in the details. Really good stuff. Now also here, this isn't necessarily to do with environmental storytelling, but it's actually to move through the progress of your level. Think about it like this. Like, I'm still playing through Last of Us 2. I know, team, I know it is still taking me longer than I have hoped for as well. What I've noticed, and they do this in Last of Us 2, was, and I hope this isn't too much spoilers, I'm not trying to go into too much here, but what they did was, when you start your descent as Ellie into Seattle, it's still quite sunny, right? The sun is out. It's kind of reflecting the mood of Ellie, kind of still wholesome, if you will, that there's still a person who hasn't been tainted by vengeance yet. But by the last day, so it's day 3, a storm has come through, it's raging, and it's matching that of the feelings of Ellie as well. And this can be a really big thing in terms of when you're designing your levels or mission. Now, hopefully, when you're doing a level, you as an LD should be in charge of the whole level from A to B. It might not always be the case. In the example I gave, that's the entire span of the story for it. But you need to think about, and especially, it's not always going to get a chance because it affects gameplay too, but do think about the weather, the time of day. What is this selling within your level? Is this reflecting the time of how your character is feeling, or the struggle of it's getting even scarier than it was before because of the fact, it's now taking place at night, for example? These elements here can really start to emphasize the overall mood and tone, and also make it a challenge as well. Maybe if it's a stealth mission like in Metal Gear Solid 5, you choose night because it's easier, but in terms of gameplay, what eventually is that will be noticed by that of the AI. So it's these elements here that really go and help push your levels, that you're thinking about these kind of extra elements that just give that sprinkle of goodness to what you're doing, to tie in again with your narrative. So have a think about that. Weather is the exact same too. Hopefully it has some gameplay impact. Even if it doesn't, it can still help. But the best stories, in my opinion, are always tied into gameplay, and I think that's very, very important. Now, those are some overall great elements to it. I'm trying to think what else really stands out to me in terms of telling stories within your levels, because there's definitely more. Mechanics can really help too, especially if you've unlocked a new mechanic, a new power, if you will. That can help tell the story too, but I'm not really thinking about it just in those terms. Music, you can speak to your audio designer, obviously, make sure they communicate with them, but due to you probably being a game, you're kind of limited by resources, right? So that's always a tough call that you might not always get what you want from it. Playing around with lighting can really help with this. In Last of Us 2, there's a really good moment where you see Ellie just bathing in red light. And for the reason is it's the symbolicness of her kind of enraged and also going off to the deep end. And again, I'm trying not to give too much away because I don't want spoilers for Last of Us 2, so I'm trying to imagine those who want that as well. But again, your colours in your level, speaking to your lighting artist and discussing those kind of things. So as long as you have And this comes down to the planning. You know me, everyone. I really like to talk about planning because I have made mistakes where I should have spent more time planning and it came to bite me in the arse later. And that all comes down to, again, planning what is the emotional beats to this. It's not just only that of the gameplay, but try think of the emotional elements you want the player to feel and be indulged in with these elements. So yes, think about lighting as well. I can't believe that I missed that one too. But yes, that's kind of where we're going to leave it today. Like I said, this is kind of me more easing back into the episode, but I hope the audio sounds better. I hope that you'll like it, and we're going to keep tweaking around with it, try and make it even better from here. And I'm just so excited to be back with you all. Honestly, I know it's nice for me to take a time off. No one wants to be burnt out by any means, but to be back again, talking with you all, talking about these elements, which again, not only am I hopefully helping all of you listeners, but it's helping me myself improve, because there's still so much for us all to learn and so much to grow by. So I'm really excited for that. Now, if you do want to get in contact with me, you can do so on Twitter, which is @MaxPairs. If you want to email in your questions, or as I said earlier, maybe recommendations, some sort of what you'd like to see from this channel, from the podcast, then you can do so leveldesignlobby@gmail.com. All of this can really help me improve and just help build, a stronger relationship with all of you as part of the community, you game gurus. If you want to support the podcast, then please head over to that of patreon.com/leveldesignlobby. I'm really excited again to be back. I hope you're excited too. I hope you've all missed me in this smooth jazz. And yes, take care, everyone. It's an absolute blast to be back with you. And I'll catch you all next time.